Good afternoon, coach. Good afternoon, classmates. So what I'm about to discuss right now is about the first three of the 14 learning process. So first is nature of the learning process. So when we say the nature, it is about the environment that we got our knowledge from, the basis of our information, and everything that we got since elementary and whatnot, where you've reached. So when we combine the nature of the learning process, it is actually trying to solve difficult or complex subjects to be able to experience the difficulty of that certain subject. And so as we trial and error and try to learn the subject, we begin to understand on how to overcome that certain subject, that certain complex subject, turning it into a simple subject. That is the best definition that I could think of nature of the learning process. Second, goals of the learning process. The goal of the learning process is actually trying to make you understand that certain subject step by step, by actually trying to achieve a certain goal one at a time. Basically what I said is step by step. So first you need how to let me give you an example. Without actually knowing multiplication, addition, you wouldn't be able to do division, because in division you need to multiply, then subtract and add. That's all. So you wouldn't be able to learn how to subtract if you didn't have any prior knowledge to subtraction, multiplication, and addition. That's the best conclusion or the best explanation that I could find for the goals of the learning process. So let's go to the construction of knowledge. So when we say construction of knowledge, when we hear the construction, it is actually trying to build or trying to form a new existence, new information of knowledge. So when you combine the construction of knowledge, it is actually creating a new knowledge based from the past knowledge that you've gained to the new knowledge and joining them together. We can go back to the example that I gave earlier, which is the math problem, division. Without actually knowing how to subtract, add, or multiply, we wouldn't be able to divide. So in a way, it is self-explanatory for us to understand that construction of knowledge is actually, as what I've said before, is to actually combine the two knowledges actually from the past and the present knowledge that we've attained.
Good day, Coach Jude, and good day, classmates. I am Franzel D. Alfaro. So for today, I'll be discussing about the cognitive and metacognitive factor. So my topics are strategic thinking, thinking about thinking, and the context of learning. So when we say strategic thinking, it is defined as a mental or thinking process applied by an individual in the context of achieving a goal or a set. As a cognitive activity, it produces thought. You can also develop strategic thinking in your everyday life. So for example, you can go on a trip and pack your things, thinking ahead and assuming what you need to take in case of bad weather, an illness, losing documents, or money. So next is the thinking about thinking. So thinking about thinking, it is the ability to think about and regulate one's own thoughts. A simplified definition of metacognition is thinking about thinking, but metacognition encompasses the regulations of these thoughts, the ability to change them. So the examples are, a student learns about what things help them to remember the facts, names, and events, and a student learns about which strategies are most effective for solving problems. So the last is context of learning. So context of learning, it is defined as the situation in which something is learned or understood. A situation that can impact how something is learned or what is taught. So an example of learning context, so it is the external learning environment, including the quality of equipment and facilities, the training level of the teacher.
Hi everyone, I am Kenneth Bodaventura Agabon from BTLED, major in ICT 1D. So today I'll going to discuss about a motivational and emotional influence on learning. The rich internal world of thoughts, beliefs, goals, and expectation for success or failure can enhance or interfere with the learner's quality of thinking and information processing. So when we say motivation and emotional influence on learning, that is a broad impact or control motivating force as an educator of society. There's a beliefs and expectation through success or failure on behalf of individuality, guidance while thinking or gaining information by processing our self-esteem. Intrinsic motivation to learn. Intrinsic motivation is stimulated by tasks of optimal novelty and difficulty relevant to personal interests of choice and control. Is the way of doing something you love without any prizes or rewards that you're expected to commit as a personal interest. For example, I'm going to help my mother while doing her house chores activity, and yet I would like to help her not because I want external rewards, but it's the essence of respect and loving to one another, particular to our beloved family. We're not expecting in return if we want to help. Let Almighty God to exchange the efforts and sacrifices that we've done to further people. Effects of motivation on effort. Effort is another major indicator of motivating to learn. The acquisition of complex knowledge and skills demands the investment of considerable learner energy and strategic effort along with persistence over time. Based on my understanding, it is increase the performing of learning and provide positive effects to improve our self-confidence by achieving our goals and facing challenges in life.
So, good day everyone, especially Coach Jude. I am Felicity Hajula Pataw, BTLED ICT First Year Section B. So, today I'm gonna discuss to you about developmental influences on learning and social influences on learning. So first, let me discuss to you about developmental influences on learning. So developmental influences are events that impact the dynamic interaction between an individual and their environment. So how does child development affect learning? So children advance in specific subject areas when their experiences are guided along learning trajectory through increasingly higher levels of conceptual understanding. So as a child develops, he will experience different prospects as well as limitation in learning. So developmental influences include normative age-graded influences, which are life events that typically and based on chronological age. So let's proceed to social influences on learning. So learning can be enhanced when the learner has an opportunity to interact and to collaborate with others on instructional tasks. In other words, it helps to encourage optimal brain development as well as social connection and collaboration. So by creating a language environment in an experience environment, which stimulates the mind to grow, and by systematically rewarding a child for learning. So things can be done both to make the environment more stimulating and to increase the drive to learn.
Good day, Coach Jude Martinez, and good day, classmates. Number 12 principle: individual differences in learning. Individuals are born with and develop their own capabilities and talents. Educators need to help students examine their learning preferences and expand or modify them if necessary. The same basic principles of learning apply to all individuals. Learners differ in learn and genetic preferences for how they learn. Individuals' unique perceptions, learned beliefs, and prior learning experiences provide a filter for learning new information and interpreting reality. Setting appropriately high and challenging standards and assessing the learner and learning progress are integral parts of the learning process. Number 13 principle: learning and diversity. The same basic principle of learning, motivation, and effective instruction apply to all learners. Number 14 principles: standards and assessment. Assessment provides important information to both the learner and teacher at all stages of the learning process. The standards define the skills and knowledge content which will need to be mastered by each student in a certain time frame. Assessment is aligned to the attainment of the standards through the defined skills or competency